everyone, it's Beth Goody from Goody Goods on Instagram. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a few things planned. I'm going to show you some Happy Mail, some finished projects, and then I'm going to do a comparison with the mini Oliso iron and the mini Steamfast iron. So let's get right into that comparison. Let's start with the Steamfast mini iron. This dude I've been using for about a year and a half, and I actually really like this iron. I love the handle. It's very different from other irons on the market. It's very ergonomic and you can get a really good grasp on it while you're working. It heats up really fast. It gets up to a pretty high temperature and it has the option for steam, so you can pour in your water here, press the steam button here, and then here are your heat controls. This is the plate. For a comparison, it's just a tiny bit smaller than my hand, so pretty small, but it does a pretty good job. Another thing that I'd like to note is the tip of the iron is more of a rounded edge, so it's not as pointy as other irons that I've used, especially my bigger iron. I use a Rowenta iron and the point on the top is very pointy and it helps get into those seams. I really like this iron. I've used it for quite some time, like I said. I enjoy it. I don't really have a lot of complaints with it. The only thing is that it shuts off pretty frequently and just has to reheat if I haven't used it in a while. Another problem that I have is on the handle, it's a rubber edge and it's starting to wear and tear right there, and this rubber is starting to come off. That's just because, like I said, it's a well-loved iron. I've used it for quite some time, but I was really curious to see what the hype was over the Oliso irons. I love looking at videos of people using their standard sized Oliso iron. I love that it pops up. I think that's a really fun gimmick, but I already really love my Rowenta iron and it's working just fine. So I thought that I would grab the mini Oliso iron and give it a go because, like I said, this one's starting to wear down a little bit and I was just curious to see what their products were like. So I ordered this guy about 2 weeks ago and I used it for all of the blocks on my MEDALLION quilt. So I've gotten pretty well acquainted with this. I really like how it comes with a little sole plate. It's rubber. It has a storage side that you can just slip it into, and then you can actually hang it up on a wall or a pegboard, whatever you want. And then also on the other side it has a resting side, so when you're not using it you can rest it on there, which I think is pretty cute. I chose blue. I really like all the colors that they had, but I want my studio to kind of be filled with all of the colors and I don't have a ton of blue, so that's why I chose blue. So let's just get right into my first opinions on here. The first things that I noticed when I started using this iron. It's definitely bigger than the Steamfast iron. This is a comparison of the sole plates. You can tell that it's just a little bit bigger. And like I mentioned on the Steamfast, this top point is much pointier. It's not a rounded edge like the Steamfast is, so I really appreciate that. I like that I can kind of wiggle into those seams and press them down into submission. So I kind of like that it's more pointy. I like that it's larger. I can get more of my project ironed and it just goes faster. The other thing that I noticed right off the bat was the style of the handle. It is much different. It's not as ergonomic at all. It's more of, you have your fingers up here, your thumb back here, and it's almost like a weird pincer grasp. You can't really this one grab and really get over the iron and press down. So that's kind of weird. It's not as ergonomic. It doesn't feel as natural when you're going to grab it to iron. So I think that's just going to take some getting used to. I managed just fine with the projects that I worked with, but that's a huge noticeable difference between the two. Here is the dial. So this is where you can set your heat settings. And then on the side, it's got your steam buttons. So if you choose to put water in your irons, that's how you can get the steam to come out. I personally do not put water in my irons. I had to learn the hard way with my first iron that putting in water causes leaking. I mean, I've done a lot of research and I've seen that a lot of other quilters do the same thing. They will just not put water in any of their irons anymore, regardless of whether it's tap water or distilled water. Over time, the iron will just not last as long. So a good alternative to putting water in your iron is just getting a spray bottle, filling up with water or starch or best press, any of the things that you like to aid in your pressing, and spraying it onto your fabric instead of putting it in your iron. So that's my biggest recommendation. If you're just starting out, do not put water in your irons. They will just last a lot longer, and these are pretty expensive to just keep buying over and over, so you want your investment to last. So let's talk about price point. This Steamfast iron goes for about $25 on Amazon. And this Oliso iron, the mini one, goes for about $60. So there is quite a gap in the price. There is a pretty significant price difference between the two. Now, is it worth spending about twice as much for this iron? I'm not sure. It's bigger, like I said. You know, it heats up just as well. It gets about as hot. I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth going, you know, that much higher to get the Oliso iron. It's a nice product, but like I said, I've been using this one for quite some time and it's never failed me yet. It works pretty well, and I'm pretty happy that I bought this for 25 bucks and it's lasted for a year, 2 years. That's not to say I don't enjoy this iron. I'm just not thinking it's necessary to kind of go over that price range. If you're not comfortable with it, you're gonna be just fine getting the Steamfast iron for a mini iron. So I hope that helps you when deciding what iron you want to buy for your mini projects. I find that I love having a mini iron. I have a mini pressing station right behind me, and that's where I do all of my pressing for my paper piecing projects. I just like that it's more precise and I can really get into those little parts with a mini iron compared to my standard size Rowenta that I use for my whole quilts. So if you're trying to decide, do I want the Oliso? Do I want the Steamfast? You're really just getting a cuter iron here. I mean, it is bigger, but this one will do you just fine. It's not as cute, but hey, it's a mini iron. They're cute on their own. They don't need little hanger thing, although this is pretty useful, I'm sure. I'm not sure it's necessary to go out of your way to purchase something that's a little bit more expensive. You're gonna be just fine with this iron. So I also wanted to share with you guys, I got some really fun things in the mail this week. I'm gonna show you my swap blocks that I received from around the world. I'm in 2 swap groups, as I mentioned in my previous videos, so I'm gonna be getting back 6 blocks, and I've gotten 3 last week. And they're so cute. This has been such a great swap, and I'm really happy that I signed up and just went for it. It's my first swap. I'm not sure I would consider my postcard swaps, I have a few hanging up there, if they would count, because they're not really like a full quilt block. But yes, this is my first quilt swap block and I'm so happy. I had a ton of fun. So after I finished my first round for my first group, I was like, okay, I'll do it again. I can make 3 more of these, and I think it's going to be really cool to have 6 from people all over the world to make a wall hanging. So without further ado, here is the first lady that I got back. She is so pretty. I'm just blown away by the talent, and I mean, this is just so well put together. I love the fabric she chose. I love the colors. It's so cute. So that's the first one. And then here's another one that I received in the mail. She's beautiful. Her name is Harriet. I think it's cute that she named her. And I think she's beautiful. Again, like the fabric choice, I mean, it's so well put together. I got really lucky with my swap group members because look at how cute these are. This is the third one. And she's so fun. It looks like she's in like a bathing suit and some knee-high boots. I just love it. So yes, these are the 3 blocks that I got, and they're gonna look super, super cute. I can't wait for their 3 other friends to arrive in the mail, and I'll be sure to share those with you as well when I get them in the mail. Another thing that I got in the mail this last week was a fat quarter from Cotton Cuts. I'm part of their Facebook group, and they were doing a fun thing last month where they were announcing random names, and if you were in the group and your name was whatever they announced, you would be sent a free fat quarter. So they announced Elizabeth, and my friend at The Guy Who Sews, Sean, was kind enough to kind of give me a reminder. I was watching it every day, but on that specific day, I hadn't checked yet. And he goes, Elizabeth, they called your name on Cotton Cuts. If you're not in that group, you need to go check it out because you can get a free fat quarter. So this is what they sent me. It's a really pretty batik. I'm usually not a huge fan of batiks, but I think this is actually really pretty, and I'm looking forward to using it in a project. I can see this being really, really pretty in a paper pieced block. It has some really pretty texture, and I think it's really nice and springy. I love the colors. So thank you, Sean, for giving me the heads up, and thank you, Cotton Cuts, for sending me this really pretty fat quarter. I cannot wait to use it. I also won a giveaway recently on Instagram, and I got a lot of fun goodies. I got a sticker, a rotary cutter, a charm pack, and a few other goodies, and I was just too eager to open them up, so I did not save them for YouTube. So I'm sorry about that, but they are cute nonetheless, and I thought I would share it on here that I won a giveaway. That's such a great feeling, because if you're on Instagram, you know how many giveaways are on Instagram and how many you comment and participate in, and to actually win one feels pretty darn good. So I thought that was fun. I've also been sharing with you guys that I am involved in doing a lot of testing. I like to test. I think it's really fun. I get a free pattern out of it, and I get to help pattern designers kind of work out the kinks in their patterns. I think it's a great challenge, and this was the duck one that I have mentioned a few times. I finally finished this sucker, and oh my gosh, he gave me a run for my money. He is very detailed, but you know, I got it done. I'm not sure what I'm gonna name him. I was kind of thinking of turning him into a pillow and giving him to my husband to bring to work as kind of like a funny thing. He's gonna be walking into work and they're like, why do you have a duck pillow? Well, my wife gave me a duck pillow. So I don't know. Should I turn this into a pillow, or should I make it into a wall hanging and slap it up on my wall? We'll see. But I am very proud of this little fella. He is extremely detailed. I would love to show you the back, but don't judge me because it's not pretty. And there's probably still a lot of paper still in there because there's a lot of tiny pieces, and I just kind of get to the point while I'm tearing out the paper where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I don't care if it's all gone or not. It's good enough for me, and you can't see it from the front. So yes, this is the back. Let me zoom in or get a little bit closer, and you can see just how much detail goes into just that face area. There are a lot of little pieces in this dude, and I finished him up rather late the other night. I stayed up till about 12:30 in the morning, and yeah, I wasn't expecting it. I remember texting my husband and saying, hey, I only have a few more blocks left, and then I'm going to piece it together. It shouldn't be, you know, too much longer. I'll probably be done around 10:30. Nope. That was not the case. I messed up a few times. I had to reprint out my templates, cut them out, and yeah, but it happened, and I finished him, and I think he's super, super cute. So if you're interested in this pattern, this is a pattern created by Paper and Pieced. You can find her on Instagram. She has a ton of really cute paper pieced patterns. This one is one of her more detailed patterns, so if you're just kind of dipping your toes into the water with paper piecing, I suggest you go for a more basic pattern from her or any of the other creators that I've mentioned in my previous videos. There are a lot of options for basic paper pieced patterns where you can just test them out, and if it's not for you, that's fine, but I would rather you start with something basic instead of going towards this guy or even the Baby Yoda. Not sure if you've seen him on my Instagram, but I'll put a picture here. But yeah, don't go for these dudes first. Get something from Cranky Kangaroo. She posts patterns every week on her Instagram. You can go to her Instagram, go on her blog, and she has a ton of free patterns that she posts every Friday, and then they make it into her Etsy shop. So there are some options for beginner-friendly patterns if you have been wanting to try it. I just really don't want you to jump into something like this and then get discouraged and never want to do it again, because it really is fun and you can work your way up to this. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of this guy. He's so cute. I mentioned that I recently got accepted to test another pattern, go figure, and it is a circular paper pieced quilt, and it is so beautiful. I am ecstatic that she picked me to be able to do this. I ended up printing out all of my templates. Look at how much paper. Y'all, look at that. Let's see, how close am I? There we go. Look at all this paper. So these are all of the templates that I need to make this quilt. It's going to be a 64-inch in diameter circular quilt. Here is kind of a mock-up of what I'm going for. I kind of did some coloring, but there's just a little sneak peek of what I'm going to be doing. I did share the fabric in one of my previous videos, so if you haven't watched that yet, go check it out. I show a ton of really pretty Libs Elliott fabric. I am using Phosphor and Beguiled in this quilt, and it's going to be amazeballs. It's going to be colorful, it's going to be fun, there's going to be movement and angles and all the fun things. So this is going to be on my radar very soon, but in true Beth fashion, I signed up for another project, because why just do what you need to do? Why not just keep adding things in? Because I see things pop up online and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. So that's what I did. I signed up for another swap through Scrappy Gals on Facebook, and it is a really cool Facebook page. If you haven't joined it yet, go give it a gander, because there are a ton of projects that are scrappy and fun, and I like going on there and getting good ideas for scrappy projects. I signed up to do another swap through there, and I'm going to receive my partner very soon with like specifics and tastes and stuff like that. But the swap is floral themed, and I am loving that. I ended up picking what pattern I'm gonna do, and I'm going to use the Quiet Play pattern that I purchased that she had just posted a couple weeks ago to donate proceeds to for Ukraine. So I have my templates printed out for that, and I'm really excited to get started and have another swap going on. I really think that I'm gonna do a lot more swaps because I like getting things back from other creators and being able to put them on my wall, and yeah, I think it just makes a really cheerful studio. In my last video, I mentioned a AMIGURUMI fail. I tried making that turtle and it did not work out. So I set my sights on something a little bit more manageable, and I found a toothless pattern, and it is so freaking cute. So I had to purchase it, and my husband, being my husband, does not want him in the traditional colors. He wanted something fun, and he chose pink. So I've been working on crocheting Toothless the Dragon from How to Train Your Dragon, and so far I have his head. I have his head stuffed and his little eyes on. The pattern calls for using felt behind the eyes to kind of give it more shape and character, but I tried doing that and it did not look good. So I said, screw it. Let's just put the safety eyes in and call it good. So here's his little head ready to be sewn on when I'm ready, and then today I actually ended up sewing up his little body, so I think it's super cute. Big head, little body. How cute is that? But I have a few more pieces to make. He's got some ears, a tail, some spikes, and his legs and stuff like that. So I have a lot more to go, but I'm hoping to finish him up, and I will share him on my Instagram and on here. So if you're interested in amigurumi or you like crochet, you can follow along on this project. So last night I ended up piecing up my backing and ironing my quilt top to be sent off to Kelly for long arming. I'll be sharing with you guys the end result of that quilt. We picked a really pretty pattern. We ended up nixing the pink thread idea and nixing Propel. We're using a different design, and we will be using light gray thread. So she is going to knock it out of the park. I really trust her judgment, and I love that we can kind of bounce around ideas and come up with something fabulous at the very end. So I'll be sharing with you guys. It should be done in about a week or so. So hopefully by next video, I will have a beautiful finished moon medallion quilt to show on here with you guys. So I also want to start sharing tips of the day. Maybe I'll do them each video, or maybe I'll do once a month, but I figured with spring around the corner, a lot of you guys are going to be tidying up your sewing studios and putting all those fabrics and scraps away. These things are lifesavers. They are moisture absorbing silica bead packets, and you can purchase them in bulk from Amazon. You can buy a big package like this that has about 100 or so in there, and what I like to do is take 2 or 3 of them and place them in any storage bin or container that is storing fabric. I had to learn the hard way. When I first started quilting, I opened up my bucket of fabric one day and wow, it smelled really bad. And I googled it, and what happens is moisture slowly creeps into your bins and your storage containers and can cause that mildewy smell, and it makes your fabric smell really bad. I'm not sure if it'll ever really wash out, so I ended up wasting a lot of fabric, and I figured I would save you guys the trouble and share with you guys this great tip. So if you don't have these yet, go on to Amazon, grab some for yourself, put them in your bins, and save your fabric from getting funky. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and if you aren't following me on Instagram, go head over to my page and give me a follow. I share a lot of things during the week, some personal things with my family and things that I'm sewing, stuff that I'm doing, questions, all that jazz. So thank you. You guys have a great week. Bye.